humility says there's still more for me to do and to learn. There was a famous man in the USA called Dan Porter. Some of you might have heard of him. He was a very famous singer and songwriter and musician. He played with some of the most famous acts and people in USA. He was based for quite some time in Nashville. He was a recording artist, a producer, and they regarded him as one of the best guitarists ever that the world has known. He had a number of hit songs, even from a young age. He had a number of hit songs, used to perform into crowds, had many hits, and was famous and respected because of his position and what he'd accomplished and done. And then he became born again and he met Jesus Christ. And the Lord said to him, I want you to stop singing for the crowds. I want you to stop performing for the crowds. And I want you to do it just for me. Dan Porter for years never performed again. But every day he picked up his guitar and he worshipped the King. He worshipped him with all of his heart. And he loved worshipping the Lord so much that he realized that to worship the King was the greatest honor he could ever have. And that to worship the King was actually bringing him freedom and purpose that he'd never previously known. He realized that worshipping the King was the biggest audience he could worship, bigger than any audience he'd ever known before. I wonder if I would challenge us on this, to say, how willing are we to do things just for King Jesus alone? I wonder if teachers, preachers, would study the Word along with him, even if they got no one to teach or preach to. I wonder if intercessors would close the door and no one would see them praying, but they would be praying in secret. I wonder if musicians and singers would be willing to just worship Jesus instead of having to be seen on a stage or known for their singing and playing. Whether they could just do it in their rooms on their own, with no one but the King to sing for or play for. Secretly that we would be giving, secretly that we would be evangelizing, secretly we would be following people up, all because the King sees it and no one else.